The summer sun beat down on the Montana Territory, casting long shadows over the vast plains. The heat was relentless, a constant reminder of the harsh and unforgiving nature of the land. The year was 1876, a time of great change and turmoil in the American West. The nation was still healing from the wounds of the Civil War, and the push for westward expansion was in full force. Rolling hills stretched as far as the eye could see, cloaked in a vibrant tapestry of green. The landscape was a patchwork of lush meadows and dense forests, a testament to the untamed beauty of the region. Wildflowers dotted the landscape, their colours a stark contrast to the untamed beauty surrounding them. These delicate blooms added a touch of softness to the rugged terrain, a reminder of nature's resilience and adaptability. The air, thick with the scent of pine and sagebrush, hummed with the anticipation of a coming storm. The sky darkened as ominous clouds gathered on the horizon, signalling the approach of a powerful tempest. Little did anyone know a storm of a different kind was brewing. This was not just a storm of nature, but a storm of human conflict and struggle, one that would leave an indelible mark on the history of the region. A clash of cultures, a battle for survival, was about to unfold in the heart of this picturesque wilderness. The Native American tribes, who had called this land home for generations, were now facing an existential threat from the encroaching forces of the United States. The Lakota, Sioux, Cheyenne and Arapaho tribes, driven from their ancestral lands, sought refuge in these untamed lands. They set up their camps, their teepees standing tall against the backdrop of the Montana plains, a symbol of their enduring spirit and resilience. They clung fiercely to their traditions, their way of life threatened by the relentless westward expansion of the United States. The tribes practiced their customs, held their ceremonies, and passed down their stories, determined to preserve their heritage in the face of overwhelming odds. Gold had been discovered in the Black Hills, a sacred land to the tribes, and the government's promise to honor their treaty rights rang hollow. Prospectors flooded the area, driven by the lure of wealth, and the delicate balance between the tribes and the settlers was shattered. The stage was set for a confrontation, a clash of wills that would echo through history. The Battle of Little Bighorn, also known as Custer's Last Stand, would become a defining moment in the struggle between the Native American tribes and the United States government. It was a battle fought not just for land, but for identity, culture, and survival. The echoes of this conflict would resonate for generations, a poignant reminder of the cost of progress and the resilience of the human spirit. Among the soldiers of the Seventh Cavalry, a young man named Jacob Adams rode towards destiny. His youthful face, hardened by the rigors of military life, held a glint of both determination and apprehension. From a small town in the east, he had enlisted seeking adventure, a chance to prove himself. Now far from home, he found himself thrust into a conflict he barely understood.
Adams, like many of his comrades, saw the world in stark terms: duty, honor, and the unwavering belief in the righteousness of their cause. He had witnessed firsthand the brutality of war, the way it could strip away innocence and leave behind a haunting emptiness. Yet, a soldier's life was all he knew, and he clung to the camaraderie of his fellow troopers, finding solace in their shared experiences.
2 years earlier, in 1874, Adams had his first taste of conflict with the Lakota. It was a time of great tension and uncertainty, as the US government sought to expand its territories westward, often at the expense of Native American lands and lives. He was part of a detachment sent to apprehend Rain in the Face, a respected Hunkpapa Lakota warrior. Rain in the Face was not just any warrior, he was a symbol of resistance and defiance against the encroaching forces of the US Army. Rain in the Face was accused of killing 2 civilians, and the army was determined to bring him to justice. The accusations were serious, and the military tribunal was set on making an example out of him to deter further resistance from the Native American tribes. The pursuit was long and arduous, leading them deep into the heart of Lakota territory. The soldiers had to navigate through dense forests, treacherous terrains and unfamiliar landscapes, all while being constantly on alert for ambushes and attacks from the Lakota warriors.
The chase after Rain in the Face was more than just a manhunt. It was a test of endurance, strategy, and willpower. The soldiers had to rely on their training and discipline, while the Lakota used their intimate knowledge of the land to evade capture. It was a symbolic clash between two cultures on a collision course. The U.S. Army, representing the industrialized and expansionist ambitions of a young nation, clashed with the Lakota, who embodied the spirit of freedom and resistance. The soldiers, with their disciplined formations and superior firepower, represented the relentless advance of a nation hungry for land and resources. They were well-equipped and well-trained, ready to impose their will on the frontier. The Lakota, masters of their environment and skilled warriors, fought to protect their way of life, their very existence hanging in the balance. They were not just fighting for land, but for their culture, their families, and their future. The encounter, though brief, left an indelible mark on Adams, a chilling foreshadowing of the storm to come. He would carry the memories of this chase with him, a constant reminder of the complexities and tragedies of the frontier. The experience shaped his understanding of the conflict, making him acutely aware of the human cost of the westward expansion.
Section 4. Custers Expedition Towards the Heart of a Storm. This chapter delves into one of the most significant and controversial military campaigns in American history, a journey that would lead to a fateful encounter. Spring of 1876 brought with it a renewed sense of purpose and dread. The harsh winter had given way to a season of growth and renewal, but for the soldiers of the Seventh Cavalry it also meant the resumption of their daunting mission. Lieutenant Colonel George Armstrong Custer, a flamboyant and ambitious officer, was tasked with leading the Seventh Cavalry into the heart of Lakota territory. Known for his audacity and unyielding spirit, Custer was both admired and criticized by his peers. His reputation as a fearless leader was matched only by his controversial tactics, their mission to force the Lakota, Cheyenne, and Arapaho onto reservations. This was not just a military campaign, but a part of a larger strategy to subdue the Native American tribes and seize their lands. The government's policy of forced relocation was met with fierce resistance, leading to numerous skirmishes and battles. The government, eager to exploit the Black Hills gold rush, had little patience for diplomacy. The discovery of gold in the Black Hills, sacred land to the Lakota, had ignited a rush of prospectors and settlers, further escalating tensions. The promise of wealth and prosperity overshadowed any attempts at peaceful negotiations.
The expedition set out from Fort Abraham Lincoln, a long column of soldiers, horses, and supply wagons snaking its way across the vast expanse of the Dakota Territory. The journey was arduous, with the men facing harsh weather conditions and difficult terrain. Each step forward was a testament to their endurance and resolve. The mood among the men was a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Many were veterans of the Civil War, seasoned by previous battles. Yet the uncertainty of this new campaign weighed heavily on their minds. The prospect of facing a formidable and determined enemy in unfamiliar territory was daunting. They were embarking on a dangerous mission, venturing into territory where the enemy was elusive and the terrain unforgiving. The vast plains and rugged landscapes presented numerous challenges, from navigating treacherous paths to securing adequate supplies. The soldiers had to remain vigilant, knowing that danger could strike at any moment. Adams, hardened by his previous experience, rode with a quiet determination, his gaze fixed on the horizon. His thoughts were a mix of duty and survival, aware that each decision could mean the difference between life and death. The weight of responsibility was heavy, but his resolve was unwavering as he led his men towards an uncertain fate.
Section 5. Division and Destiny, June 25th, 1876. On June 25th, 1876, the 7th Cavalry reached the Little Bighorn River. The sun beat down on the camp as Custer, acting on incomplete intelligence, made a fateful decision. He divided his forces into 3 battalions, believing he could outmaneuver and crush the Lakota and Cheyenne villages scattered along the river. It was a decision that would have catastrophic consequences.
Adams found himself assigned to Captain Frederick Benteen's battalion, tasked with scouting ahead and preventing the enemy from escaping. As they rode out, the air crackled with tension. The rolling hills, once serene and inviting, now seemed to conceal unseen dangers. The silence was broken only by the clatter of hooves and the creak of leather saddles. A sense of foreboding settled over the men, a premonition of the horrors to come.